Have you ever worried that scammers today are getting more and more sophisticated, especially when it comes to targeting older adults? As we grow older, the world doesn't always get kinder. Technology gives us incredible convenience, but at the same time, it opens countless doors for criminals to exploit. What once felt safe can suddenly turn into a dangerous trap, and sadly, it's often the most kind-hearted and trusting people who end up as victims. That's why staying informed isn't just a smart choice. It's your shield to protect your hard-earned money, your peace of mind, and your independence. In this video, I'm going to expose 5 fast-spreading scams that are designed to look convincing, but can cause devastating damage if you don't recognize them in time. These schemes might come through a fake voice on the phone, a message that looks legitimate, or even a website that appears completely real. They're becoming more advanced every single day, and the number of older victims is rising quickly. I strongly encourage you to stay with me until the very end, because the last scam we cover might shock you the most. And knowing how it works could be the key to saving you or someone you love from a painful financial loss. By the time you finish watching, you won't just know how to spot these scams. You'll feel more confident, more prepared, and stronger when it comes to protecting yourself in today's world full of hidden traps. So let's dive right in. Scam 1, the tech support trap. This is one of the fastest growing scams right now, and it preys on people who may not feel as comfortable with technology. It usually starts with a sudden phone call or a pop-up window flashing across your computer screen, warning you that something is seriously wrong. The message could say, your computer is infected with a virus, that your bank account is being hacked, or that your device will shut down unless you take immediate action. The common thread here is urgency. When we panic, we're more likely to listen to whoever claims to have the solution. And that right there is the hook that pulls people straight into the scammer's trap. The person on the other end of the line usually sounds calm, professional, and incredibly convincing, which makes it easy to believe they're the real deal. They might claim to represent a well-known company like Microsoft or Apple, and step by step, they guide you through what looks like a legitimate process to fix the problem. But here's where the danger begins. They'll often ask for remote access to your computer. The moment you grant it, they can see everything. Your emails, stored passwords, personal files, even your bank accounts. From that point on, the damage they can cause is endless. Some scammers take it a step further by charging you for fake services, asking for a so-called repair fee. And it's rarely through normal payment methods. Instead, they'll push you to send gift cards or wire transfers, which are almost impossible to trace or reverse. What feels like a small fee at first can quickly snowball into hundreds, even thousands of dollars, as they keep inventing new problems to solve. The heartbreaking reality is that many seniors don't realize they've been scammed until the money is long gone. Take this example. A 78-year-old man named Edward was casually reading the news online when a pop-up flashed across his screen, warning him that his bank account had been hacked. The message urged him to call a phone number immediately. Nervous and alarmed, he dialed. On the other end, a technician convinced him to download a program for remote assistance. Within minutes, the scammer was inside his computer, moving files around and pretending to fix the issue. Then came the ask. Edward was told he needed to pay $200 to secure his account. It sounded urgent, it sounded reasonable, and without hesitation, he paid. A week later, Edward discovered far more than $200 was missing from his bank account. The lesson here is simple but powerful. Never feel ashamed if something like this happens to you. These scammers are professionals at manipulation, and even the most careful, cautious people can be caught off guard. The most important thing is to recognize the red flags. If someone calls you out of nowhere claiming your computer is in danger, or if a pop-up suddenly tells you to call a number right away, pause and think. Real companies simply don't work like that. They don't call you out of the blue, and they will never demand immediate payment with gift cards or wire transfers. When seniors know how the scam works, they not only protect themselves, but also help others. By speaking openly about these experiences, the sense of shame disappears and is replaced with empowerment. Every shared story becomes a chance to protect someone else from falling into the same trap. By staying alert and questioning the unexpected, you safeguard your finances, your identity, and your peace of mind. Scam 2. Medicare and health insurance fraud. Another fast-growing scam targeting seniors involves Medicare and health insurance. It often begins with a phone call from someone pretending to be a representative from Medicare, Social Security, or a private health plan provider. The caller usually sounds official and professional. Sometimes they'll even quote your Medicare number or pieces of personal information they've stolen elsewhere just to make the conversation feel authentic. They might tell you that you qualify for new benefits, free medical equipment, or discounted prescriptions. But the real goal is always the same: to trick you into handing over sensitive information or agreeing to services that will end up costing you a lot of money. These scammers understand that healthcare is one of the biggest concerns for seniors, and they exploit that vulnerability to build a false sense of trust. They might insist you're eligible for a free health screening or claim that you must confirm your Medicare details to keep your coverage active. The urgency in their voice makes it feel like your benefits are at risk if you don't cooperate immediately. For someone who relies heavily on Medicare, that fear can override caution. It's a cruel trick that manipulates one of our deepest worries, the fear of losing access to essential healthcare. Take this example. Eleanor, an 81-year-old widow, received a phone call from a man pretending to be from Medicare. He told her she qualified for a brand new diabetes monitor free of charge. All Eleanor had to do, the caller said, was confirm her Medicare number along with her date of birth. Wanting to take advantage of what sounded like a helpful, even generous offer, she gave out the information. A week later, boxes of unnecessary medical equipment started showing up at her doorstep. Soon after, her Medicare account reflected thousands of dollars in claims for items she never ordered, never needed, and never used. By the time she realized what had happened, the damage was already done. What makes this scam so effective is that many seniors are conditioned to respect authority, especially when it comes to government programs. When someone claims to be from an official agency, it feels natural to listen and comply. Scammers also count on the fact that older adults often manage multiple medications or health conditions, making the promise of free or discounted care especially tempting. The language these con artists use is carefully crafted to lower your guard and push you into acting without hesitation. But here's the truth: Medicare will never call you unexpectedly to ask for your personal information. They won't pressure you for details over the phone, and they will certainly never threaten to cancel your coverage if you don't respond. So if you ever receive a call like this, the safest response is simple: hang up immediately. If you're worried about your benefits, use the official Medicare phone number printed on your card to confirm. Always rely on contact information you already know and trust, not a number given to you by a stranger on the phone. And if you're still here watching, finding this information helpful, drop a quick number 2 in the comments below so I know you're with me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit that button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any of our future videos. Your support means the world to us and allows us to keep creating content that informs, protects, and inspires. Now let's move on. Scam 3: online shopping and delivery fraud. In today's world, online shopping has become a huge convenience, something many seniors have grown to rely on. Whether it's because mobility is more limited or simply because ordering from home feels easier and safer than heading out, the internet has become the go-to marketplace. But with that convenience comes a new wave of scams that are spreading rapidly. These schemes often show up as fake shopping websites, misleading online ads, or phony delivery notifications sent through email or text. On the surface, they look perfectly legitimate, but behind the curtain, they're designed to steal your money, your personal data, or both. The scam can begin in different ways. Maybe you spot an ad for something you've been wanting offered at a price that seems almost too good to be true. You click the link and the website looks polished and professional: product photos, customer reviews, even a checkout page that appears secure. Everything feels real, but once you place your order, the product never arrives. Worse yet, the scammers now have your credit card number, billing address, and other sensitive details. In other cases, you might receive a text or email claiming a package delivery has failed and urging you to click a link to reschedule. That link often takes you to a malicious website designed to steal your personal information or secretly install harmful software on your device. Take the story of Robert, a 72-year-old retiree who loved gardening. He stumbled across a website offering high-quality gardening tools at half the regular price. The site was filled with attractive product images and glowing reviews that looked authentic. Excited by the deal, Robert placed an order. Weeks passed and nothing ever showed up. When he tried contacting customer service, the phone number didn't work and his emails bounced back. By then, the scammers had already pocketed his money and even attempted to make additional charges on his credit card. It was a painful and costly lesson. Even something as simple as buying gardening tools online can come with serious risks, and delivery scams can be just as dangerous. One of the most common tricks involves sending text messages or emails disguised to look like they're from major shipping companies. The message might say, "Your package could not be delivered. Click here to confirm your address." For seniors who may be expecting a delivery from a grandchild, a pharmacy, or even an online order, they've actually made that message can feel urgent and frighteningly believable. But clicking that link can throw the door wide open to identity theft or financial fraud. The emotional hook behind these scams is simple expectation. When you're waiting for a package, the thought that it might be delayed or lost can spark instant worry, making you act before you think. Scammers are counting on exactly that reaction, your impulse to click first and question later. Once they have your information, the damage can spread quickly. The best defense is to remember that online safety is no different from being cautious at your own front door. Just as you wouldn't hand your wallet to a stranger knocking unexpectedly, you should never hand over your personal details to a website, text, or email you don't fully trust. By staying alert, taking a moment to double-check, and refusing to be rushed, you can continue enjoying the convenience of online shopping without putting yourself at risk. Scam 4: Romance and companionship fraud. Among the most heartbreaking scams seniors face today are those built around romance and companionship. These schemes prey on one of the most natural human needs, the desire for connection. And they often succeed because loneliness, especially in later years, can be such a powerful force. The setup usually begins with a friendly message on a social media platform, a dating website, or even through email. The scammer introduces themselves as warm, attentive, and genuinely interested, often pretending to share your hobbies, values, or life experiences. At first, the conversations feel real, thoughtful messages, kind words, and the sense that someone is truly listening. Over time, trust begins to grow, and that's when the requests for money slowly start creeping in. What makes this scam particularly dangerous is the pace it unfolds gradually. Unlike tech support or delivery scams that strike fast, romance scams can stretch out over weeks or even months before a single request is made. The scammer might claim they're working overseas, traveling for business, or suddenly dealing with a personal emergency. Each story is carefully designed to tug at your heartstrings and make you feel compelled to help. These stories are carefully designed to tug at the heartstrings. And because the scammer has already invested time in building what feels like a genuine relationship, the victim often feels obligated to help. Many seniors don't just send money once they end up sending it over and over, convinced they're supporting someone who truly cares for them. Take the story of Eleanor, a 74-year-old widow. She originally joined a social networking site simply to stay in touch with her friends and family. But before long, she was contacted by a man who introduced himself as a retired military officer. He was charming, attentive, and seemed to understand her loneliness in a way no one else did. After weeks of heartfelt conversations, he shared a desperate story. He was stranded overseas with no access to his bank account. Moved by compassion and believing in the connection they had built, Eleanor wired him money. But once she did, the requests didn't stop. They grew larger, more urgent, and more demanding. By the time she realized she had been deceived, thousands of dollars were gone. And the emotional toll was just as devastating as the financial loss. That's the cruelty of romance scams. They don't just steal money, they steal trust. For many victims, the heartbreak makes it hard to open their hearts again, even to genuine people who truly want to care for them. The shame and embarrassment can be overwhelming. Far too often, victims keep the situation a secret from family and friends until it's too late. So how can you protect yourself? The first step is to recognize the warning signs. Be cautious if someone you've never met in person professes strong feelings too quickly. Watch out for constant excuses that prevent them from meeting face to face. And most importantly, be skeptical of any request for money, no matter how urgent or convincing it sounds. A real friend or partner will never pressure you financially, especially in the early stages of a relationship. The key is awareness. Knowledge can transform vulnerability into strength. When you understand how romance scams work, you can continue to enjoy the benefits of social connections without falling victim to manipulation. And remember, when you share what you've learned, you're not only protecting yourself, you're helping protect others too. If you're still with me and finding this video valuable, drop a quick number 4 in the comments so I know you're here. And if you haven't already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. Your support makes it possible for us to keep creating helpful content that informs, protects, and inspires. Now let's move on. Scam 5: Investment and Prize Fraud. This may be one of the oldest tricks in the book, but sadly, it remains one of the most effective, especially against seniors. The scam comes in many disguises, but the core idea never changes. Scammers dangle the promise of something big, guaranteed profits, massive winnings, or life-changing returns, if only you act quickly and send money. Seniors are often targeted because many are searching for safe investments to protect their retirement or hoping to leave a financial legacy for their families. These goals are honorable, but scammers twist those dreams into traps for exploitation. On the investment side, it might begin with a phone call, an email, or even an online ad claiming that a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity is about to skyrocket. It could be a hot new stock, a piece of overseas property, or a special bond that supposedly beats the market. The pitch is always urgent: act now or you'll miss out. But here's the truth. What they really want is your money funneled straight into their pockets. They have no intention of delivering on any promise. And once the money is gone, so are they, leaving you with nothing but regret and a heavy heart. The prize version of this scam is just as common. You might get a phone call or letter saying you have won a lottery, a sweepstakes, or even an all-expenses-paid vacation. At first, it feels thrilling, like your luck has finally turned around. And really, who doesn't like the idea of winning something? That's what makes these scams so appealing at first. But then comes the catch. Before you can claim your prize, you're told you must pay taxes, processing fees, or shipping costs. That's the giant red flag. Real lotteries and legitimate contests never require winners to pay upfront in order to collect their prize. Unfortunately, in the heat of excitement, many seniors reach for their checkbooks or hand over their credit card numbers only to discover later that the prize never existed. Take the story of Frank, a 69-year-old grandfather who enjoyed the occasional scratch-off ticket for fun. One afternoon, he received a phone call congratulating him on winning a foreign lottery. The caller sounded professional and convincing, even giving a badge number and promising to send documents for verification. All Frank had to do, they said, was wire $3,000 to cover international taxes. Hoping this was his lucky break, Frank complied. But of course, the promised winnings never arrived. His $3,000 was gone forever. What hurt even more than the financial loss was the betrayal, the realization that his hope had been turned against him. These scams work because they prey on two powerful emotions: hope and fear. Hope that this might finally be your financial breakthrough, and fear that if you don't act fast, you'll miss the chance forever. Scammers pile on the pressure with artificial deadlines and warnings like, "Don't tell anyone until it's official," or "You'll lose the deal if you don't act within hours." This isolation tactic is intentional, because the moment you stop to talk it over with a trusted friend or a family member, the scam falls apart. The truth is simple: real investments involve some degree of risk, and no one can guarantee outsized returns without it. And genuine prizes never require you to pay in advance. If someone pressures you with promises that sound too good to be true, then it almost certainly is a scam. Always double-check with a trusted advisor, family member, or your financial institution before sending money anywhere. Slow down, take a breath. Remember, urgency is the weapon of fraudsters, not of honest opportunities. By recognizing these warning signs, you're protecting far more than just your wallet. You're protecting your dignity, your peace of mind, and your long-term security. And when you share what you've learned with friends, neighbors, or community groups, you multiply that protection. Awareness truly is the strongest defense. Final thoughts. As we wrap up this video, I want you to take a moment to reflect on the 5 scams we uncovered together. From tech support tricks to health insurance fraud, from online shopping traps to romance deceptions, all the way to investment and prize scam, each one proves just how creative, persistent, and ruthless criminals can be when they target seniors. But here's the good news: each scam also highlights something far more important: the power of knowledge. Awareness is your shield. It keeps your money safe, your identity protected, and your peace of mind intact. It's natural to feel unsettled when you realize how widespread these scams are. But please remember, being cautious doesn't mean living in fear. It means living with wisdom, strength, and confidence. Every time you pause before clicking a link question, a caller who pressures you, or check with a trusted friend before making a decision, you're proving that you're stronger than the scammer who tried to deceive you. The truth is, scams will continue to evolve, but so will your ability to recognize them. With every bit of knowledge you gain, you become less of a target and more of a protector, not only for yourself, but for your entire community. Hold on to that truth because it means you are far from powerless. You are equipped, capable, and resilient, and that is something no scammer can ever take from you. Thank you and call to action. Thank you so much for spending this time with us today. I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and share one thing you learned from this video and how you plan to use it in your own life. Your thoughts matter, and your stories inspire others. Reading your comments gives us the motivation to keep going. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our future uploads. And please share this video with someone you care about. It might just save them from falling victim to a scam. Thanks again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.